Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode here in NHL 21. So in last episode we had free agency, and then we also started up the season simulation, and as you can see so far we're doing pretty good. 14-6, 3-1 on the season, and we're looking to add a few more pieces to help our team play a little bit better defensively, because that's been a little bit of a struggle, but not super much that it's been taking our team down. But we are going to be upgrading our defense a bit because a lot of the guys dropped down in overall in terms of guys we brought in. So guys like, say, Thomas Malik and stuff like that, technically were like a 7th defenseman for us last season, but now they're actually playing. I think I will keep Thomas Malik in the lineup because he's been on plus 15, but we are going to probably be making a trade, which will probably take somebody like Brett Hedican out of the lineup, I would assume, just because he's been an even 0, and we want to bring in a better defensive defenseman that doesn't take also as many penalty minutes. And yeah, then that means we'll probably have to send like somebody down to the minors, but I don't even know if anybody will claim them, but if they do, it's not the end of the world. Now, before we get started with making that trade and simulating more of the season, I do have one comment to go over, and that is from HawksFan88. He says, I think you should definitely try and get a good defenseman whose value is fairly low, so you don't have to trade away any young guys or pick. Two players I think you could go after, or Lidman or Mitchell, who are both in Chicago. And I also said, what do you think we should really move out to get one of them? And he says, I think you can move out one of your 4th line guys, or a guy you're not using, and probably a draft pick. I think that should get the deal done. Now, if I look at these guys via the find trade option in Chicago, the clear option for me at least is probably not Willie Mitchell, because Willie Mitchell, both these guys are signed for 3 years, which is a bit problematic. Now, Lidman is 1 year older than Mitchell, so it kind of makes a bit of sense, but I think we go for Tony Lidman because of the fact that Tony Lidman, he has 11 goals this year, which is kind of crazy. I don't know how he's putting up that much goals, but he does not take a lot of penalty minutes for a defenseman. Like, he did take a decent amount in his first year, but 4 penalty minutes only this year so far in 24 games. He's not very much of a physical defender, I guess. So he would be probably the better option, because Willie Mitchell has 41 PIMs in 24 games. That way we're staying a little bit out of the box and keeping a little bit more disciplined with our team. Now, if I do this via the trade finder, the Chicago Blackhawks would only take a 3rd and a 5th. Now, we could probably substitute the 3rd for something else, or we could probably get rid of maybe a depth option. Like, I don't know if like, let me take a look actually at the proposed trade screen instead, because I kind of want to see how much value somebody like Kurt Sauer has, because Kurt Sauer, since he's sitting on our bench anyways, we might as well trade him and upgrade him to Tony Lidman to an extent. So if we go here by overall, and Sauer does not have any value, which is not good. Yeah, we probably aren't going to be able to you do one of these type of trades, because a lot of these defensemen don't have the value. And then he was also mentioning the 4th liners. So if we were looking at our 4th liners, for example, I'm not getting rid of Kuznetsov for sure. And yeah, I don't know if we really have anybody that has that amount of value. Like, Kirk Maltby has a decent amount of value, but I'm not getting rid of him. Yeah, there's not really anybody that has that amount of value on our team, unfortunately. So we are going to have to just give up our 3rd and a 5th, but I think I'm willing to do so, just because I feel like this team should be making it back to the playoffs, considering we brought in Timo Solani in the offseason. So let's go back to that trade finder and bring in Tony Lidman for a 3rd and a 5th. And hopefully Tony Lidman could help us play a little bit better defensively and could help our team potentially go on to winning a 1st round appearance at least. Just because my Detroit series has been a very tough one to play because of the fact that we haven't been able to make it past the 1st round so many times. But yeah, bringing in Tony Lidman for a 3rd and a 5th. And then it says sending down Bluegis. Actually, I gotta send down somebody first before we make this trade, because I'm not sending down Bluegis to the AHL, because Bluegis has been one of our best defensemen pretty much. So we will go to roster moves, and we'll just send down Kurt Sauer. He might get claimed on waivers, he might not, but yeah, hopefully he doesn't. And did he go through? He went through. Okay, good. That is kind of surprising. But at least we have a good defenseman down there in the AHL that could get called up if need be. And I think I'll throw him actually into the lineup over one of these 7th defensemen like Semyonov. That way we have maybe a better chance of our AHL team getting some good success down there. And yeah, I think, wait, Ronning has 7th D potential as well, so we'll give Sauer a chance with Wall and then move Ronning with Steen, and that's good. Okay, now we could make that trade without actually having to send anybody down to the minors, because if we send down Blue Jays, he's going to go back to the CHL, and then we're never going to get him again until next season, which I do not want that to happen. So we are going to go to the Chicago Blackhawks and take Tony Lidman again, and we will accept this trade from Chicago. Thank you guys for Tony Lidman. And hopefully those 3rd and 5th round picks are kind of late round picks, because I don't really like to give up early round picks to get guys, but hopefully our team does pretty solid with the addition of Lidman. Let's go to our lineup and throw in Tony over, I think, Brett Hedican, because yeah, Thomas Malik's been pretty solid, so we're just going to put Lidman in. And he actually fits that top 6 pairing really well, but he's more of a top 4 defenseman. Like, I don't want to move down Malik because he's been a plus 15 so far, but we might have to. I might still just run with Tony Lidman on the top 6 and then give him some, like, special teams time. Yeah, I think I'll give him some, like, top line penalty kill time maybe with Blue Jays. And that way, at least, he's getting a little bit more ice time, even though there is no morale. And that should be good. Okay, perfect. So we made our trade. We are going to probably sim to a day still before the deadline in this episode, just because I would like to, if this team falls apart, still have you guys make some trade options for me. So yeah, let's start by going 1 month at a time, and we'll go till like February the, what is it? Like the 27th or something? Yeah, it's the 26th. We'll stop simulating it, and hopefully this team can continue their winning ways. So since we're at December the 1st, let's go to January the 1st and see how we play for this month. We start off with an 8-5 loss, which is not a great debut for Tony Lidman. Probably was out there on a lot of goals. But that was against the New Jersey Devils. We lose that game, then we win, and then we lose. Not off to a great start this episode. Mostly losses, but there's 2 straight wins, and they're both good defensive games over Western Conference teams, and then we get shut out in back-to-back games. My god, this team is a little bit inconsistent right now. Maybe they're just trying to find their legs though with the new addition. And now we're 19-13, 3-2, which does not have us as top of our division anymore. It has us behind the New York Islanders by 4 points. Malkin's leading us in points with 35 so far on the year. Yeah, if we were in the Atlantic Division, we'd literally be like in a wild card spot at this stage. But since we're in the friggin' Metropolitan Division, like, we're in a playoff spot, like the second best playoff spot. Like, our division's a lot weaker, it seems like, but it is also a lot tighter. Like, there's only 13 points separating where we are in last place. So that is kind of scary, because, you know, we could just all of a sudden go on like a 7-game losing streak and drop way down to the bottom or something, which would not be good. Okay, let's go another month. This episode might be a little bit short because we're going up only to the deadline probably. So let's go another month. Also because the sim engine is super quick on Xbox Series X and next-gen consoles. So there's another loss. There's a couple wins in a row, 3 wins in a row. There's a loss, another win. Okay, now we're starting to play a little bit better offensively as Vladimir Frolov, who's our top 6 prospect in the AHL, goes down with a concussion. We'll go replace player. But yeah, our NHL team is now picking it up a lot, which is great. There's a tie to get at least a point as well. And we'll take out Semyonov, who's that defenseman, and put back in Frolov. And 2 more games this month, Minnesota and Carolina, and we lose them both. So we're 26, 17, 5, and 2. So that was a very successful month for the most part. We are leading our division by only 1 point, and there is only 6 points separating us and the Caps, who are outside of the playoffs actually. Yeah, because the last wildcard spot, it has Toronto with 53 points. So yeah, literally if we were in another division, we'd be in a wildcard spot at this stage, but we aren't. Heatley's leading us in points with 51 points. He's not scoring goals, but he's got 51 and 50, so that's kind of cool. He's not scoring as much as he did in real life, but still pretty solid so far. I'm kind of getting a little bit concerned that our division is like kind of this tight, because literally it's still only like 18 points separating here for like first place and last place, which is not really a whole lot considering in the Atlantic division it's like almost a 40-point differential. So yeah, hopefully we could still beat out teams like the Islanders, the Devils, and the Caps. And then the Rangers are also kind of right there, and the Hurricanes. The Flyers and Penguins both probably pretty much dropped off a lot. So okay, let's go to the 26. So only a little bit more to go in terms of the simulating. Then we'll take a look at our player stats, the trading block, maybe the draft class as well, progress reports. Just trying to add a little bit more time to this episode because we're only like around 11 minutes in, I think, unless I had to make any cuts. So let's go to the 26th, and hopefully this team is good at the deadline, because we are going to have to try and make some trades to get our team back into the playoffs, and that is not good. Timo Solani goes down with an injured neck. Of course, we lose one of our best goal scorers right near the deadline. That's not great. So I think we're going to move up Kuznetsov, though, because he's more offensive. And then who are we going to throw into this fourth line? We're going to just throw in Stu Barnes, because he was one of our free agent signings. And he's a pretty solid defensive forward. And we'll just throw Stu Barnes in all these positions, even though Stu Barnes probably won't score that much because he's been dropping off a lot. Oh, that gives it a -1. I don't like that, but I might have to do that. Yeah, I'll still just leave it the way it is. I don't think it's going to hurt us, because -1 sometimes don't really mean anything. So throw back Stu Barnes in there as well, and that should be good. Yeah, hopefully Stu Barnes helps his team out a little bit while we are out without Solani, because Solani is probably one of our best players for points. And Frolov goes down with another concussion in the AHL. Geez, that guy's broken or something. Come on, boys. There's a win over Edmonton. Luke Toporowski on waivers. I don't think I need to claim him. He's listed as a fourth liner at 73, which is really weird. But no, don't need Luke. No thanks. Game against Phoenix, but Solani's back, which is huge news. Glad he's back already. We weren't without him that long. You know, we actually won a game without him, so it was something like that, and boom, and an Ashman back down there. Okay, let's continue simulating. Come on, boys. There's another win over Phoenix, a win over Colorado and New Jersey. We bet we lose to Chicago. But winning over New Jersey is pretty huge because they are kind of close to us in the standings, I'm pretty sure still. Isaiah Edmonds has fractured his jaw in the AHL. Jeez, the AHL team has a lot of injuries. Okay, back-to-back games against Tampa Bay, and one's a win, one's a loss, as Murray Blue just gets injured with an injured knee. We'll replace him for now as well. Adam Varga on waivers. No thank you. Don't need another guy that's listed as a fourth liner that technically isn't a fourth liner. And there's back-to-back OT wins. So at the deadline, pretty much, we are 34, 21, 5, and 2, which is pretty good, which has our second place in our division, only 2 points back of the New York Islanders. And we also do have a 12-point lead on that third place spot, which is the Rangers, and a 13-point lead on the Devils now. So we are making up some ground, which is great. Let's take a look at our player stats and our team stats so far for the season, just in case there's any areas we want to address before at the trade deadline and all that stuff. So center-wise, Malkin and Savard and Bergeron all around the exact same amount of points, 54, 54, and 52. Mike Fisher has 37, so he was a pretty good acquisition, but he is taking a lot of penalty minutes, but then again, so is Savard and Evgeny Malkin. Kuznetsov, 15 points and a +1. Still pretty solid from him. Obviously, he's getting a lot less ice time, I think. Yeah, he's getting only 950 this year in comparison to 15 minutes. I'd like to up his ice time, but I don't really know how we can with the way our veteran third line's been playing. So, yeah, that's that. And then Stu Barnes has 2 assists in 2 games as a depth guy, so that's great to get our depth going. And then left wing wise, Kovalchuk's got 54 points, 26 goals already. Heatley's got 52 points, so a lot of 50-point players already on the season. Maltby 33 points, Somic 19 points, Marcel Hossa only 9 points, but he is only on the fourth line, I think. Yeah, he's only averaging 930 on ice. But Somic's averaging less ice time, like 7 minutes, and he's got more points, so that's kind of weird. And then Peter Schaefer has 1 assist in 1 game as a depth guy. Right wing wise, Timo Solani's only got 47 points, but he's got 18 goals, so he's been helping us out a little bit. It's good to see. And then Aaron Asham has got 34 points. Defensively, Tony Lidman, 23 points, but how much with us? 9 points in 38 games, and he's a +7, so a great suggestion by Hawks fan to get him in from Chicago. Obviously, he's not scoring as much goals, but he's still got a pretty good season under his belt, and pretty good defensive one, too, with us. Thomas Malik, 16 points and a +27, my god. Yeah, that pairing of Malik and Blugis was really good, and Blugis is still really good plus-minus wise as well. Leach has 15 points, which is kind of concerning, but he is old and dropping off more. Fahey 11 points, Blugis has 11 points in the +28, and 111 PIMs, so it could be because he's really big. He's 6'4", 204, so that's probably why Blugis is taking a decent amount of PIMs, but he's having a pretty solid season so far. Aaron Miller, 10 points, and Brett Hellikin only had 1 goal in 26 games. And goaltending-wise, Martin Prusek has been really good. He's 25, 15, and 1 with 3 shutouts and 915 save percentage and a 2.5. And Carey Price has been actually picking it up as of late. He's 9-6 and 1 with a 908 and a 2.89. So those are our player stats. It's pretty balanced, I would say, for our top 6, because pretty much everybody in our top 6 has 47 plus points. So they've all been assisting on each other's goals. Like, the top line all has almost 54 points, and the second line all has almost like 52 points-ish. So, yeah, it's pretty balanced. Let's take a look at the team stats, just because I kind of want to see what we've been doing wrong. So, currently we're 5th best in the league. In terms of offense, it looks like we are... Yeah, we're literally probably 14th or 13th, so we're right around the middle. So, we're not scoring a whole lot. But in terms of goals against per game, we are one of the best defensive teams in the NHL, so that's a good thing to see. Our power play has been one of the worst, so we could probably address maybe adding some more offensive pieces if we think it's necessary, but we don't necessarily need to. And in penalty kill wise, we are also going to be just outside of the top 10 at 83.6%. And there's our records. We have actually a pretty good road record. Yeah, we have one of the best road records in the NHL top 10. Nice. Okay, let's take a look at what is out there on the trading block, and then we'll also take a look at the draft class, just in case you guys want me to tank for some weird reason, or if there's any steals for the potential offseason anyways. But let's take a look at what's on the block. I don't even know really if we need to make much trades, but who knows, maybe we do. So there is Mark Denis, so there's some goaltending options. There's also some prospects that we don't really need. We're more looking for guys that could help us out right now, but we could always trade for prospects if we wanted to go the tanking route, but I don't really know if we want to with the way we are playing this season. Martin Ruchinski's available, but he would be more of a depth option. Kim Johnson would be a good defensive option, but the thing is with bringing in Kim Johnson is you're taking away ice time from somebody probably like Thomas Malik. And he's a -21 this year, Kim Johnson. So, yeah, I don't know really about bringing in somebody like Kim Johnson. Jan Hlavik. There's also Sean Horkov, Mark Parrish, Brian Rolston, and Jean Leclerc. So, Chicago's got a lot of options on the block. Just kind of crazy. What else we got here? Vladimir Malikov, Lassi Pirietta, Jeff Cowan, Ronald Petrovicki. Some prospects in Dallas. Some picks in Detroit. Jamie Allison, Manny Malhotra would be interesting, but we don't really have the need for him, I don't think, but he would be probably a good defensive fourth liner to bring in because of his face-off attributes, but he looks like he only fits our top line, so that doesn't really make much sense. There's also Eric Boganecki, and then Sebastian Caron, and Tommy Salo, who's dropping off a lot. Just some random prospects in Europe, random prospects in Florida. LA has Derek Armstrong, Dinas Zubris, Roman Hammerlick, Todd Harvey, and Jason Doig on the block. More prospects in Minnesota. Montreal's got Martin Biron, John Graham, and some prospects. Okay. Nashville's got some picks. New Jersey's got some prospects. Spotcheck, Joe Corvo, Oleg Tverdovsky, Dave Scatcherd, and Steven Reinprecht in New York. So a lot of decent players in New York, which is kind of weird because they're top of our division. So I don't know why they're trying to move out a lot of veterans. Maybe just because some of these guys have bad salary caps. I don't know. Alexei Zhamnov, Eric Rasmussen, Ian Laperriere, Doug Waits back in New York. That would be kind of an interesting pickup, but we don't really have the roster room for him. And then Jason Strudwick. And then Ottawa Senators-wise, they have J.S. Aubin and some prospects. Philadelphia has Brad Bombardier. Phoenix has Ladislav Nagy. That's an interesting one. He doesn't actually have a lot of value. Yeah, Nagy would help our offense, but I don't really see where we would slot him in our top 6. And he's making $10 million, which is not very cheap. They also have Valerie Bure, Marcus Nilsson, Ivan Majewski, and Mike Greer. Pittsburgh has just some picks. San Jose has Evgeny Nabokov still on the block. And some prospects. St. Louis has Matthew Dandino, Al McInnes, Dmitry Baikov, Carl Dykhouse, and Nolan Pratt. So some defensive options there. Tampa Bay has some prospects. Toronto has some picks. Vancouver has some prospects. And Washington has Chad Kilger, Tom Fitzgerald, Matthew Schneider, Bob Bugner, and Alexander Karpatsev. Okay. Let's take a look at the draft class as well, just for fun. And then I'll also show you guys the progress reports so far so we can see how our development is going. So we still don't know who this top overall pick is, if he's an elite player or a franchise player. But anyways, he's there. We're probably going to have a late round pick because we're more than likely going to be making the playoffs if the team considers to play like this still. But we're going to pin this Emmanuel Martinez guy because he looks really solid. That would be a really good steal to get him at 25 or something if we're around there. Yeah, some of these guys look actually pretty solid, but some of them don't. Let's see, is there any guys to pin, like low elites or some shit? Because if there's any low elites, we're definitely pinning them. Maybe Mr. J.C. Cullen. He looks decent. Not the greatest, but still could be a good, decent low round or late round steal. This guy doesn't look great. Okay, anyways, that's the draft class. Let's take a quick look at our progress reports so far for the season, just because I wanted to kind of see who's been developing well in our system. The NHL doesn't matter that much because most of our team is veteran-based. Carey Price is getting no development, which is kind of weird for a low franchise. But then again, it could be because he's a backup. I don't know. In the system-wise, Van Allen's growing a lot, which is good because he's a low top 6. Jalkinen's growing. A lot of our guys are developing pretty well, looks like. Wall's up to a 74. He's listed as a depth defenseman, so I don't know if he'll ever play in the NHL as a depth defenseman at this rate, but maybe he'll still be a top 4 at best. I don't think he's going to be an elite defender like he's listed as. And then Coley Minen's also getting some development, which is nice. Ladikainen. Brian Elliott's pretty much NHL ready almost at this stage, so I don't know if Prusek leaves this offseason or what. Isaiah Edmonds is getting some development, same as a lot of these other guys. Okay, not too bad. Some decent development, just what we need. Okay, and I think that is it. Let me also just take a quick look at, is there anything else I want to take a look at? I just want to take a look at this standings again. So we're 12 points above that last playoff spot in our division, 13 above the Devils. And then that last wildcard spot in there has 63 points. So, yeah, we're 12 points above, but you never know. We could just all of a sudden fall off. So, I don't know if we want to really make trades in next episodes. It's up to you guys if we should make trades. So, anyways, that's going to do it for this episode of our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode. So, next episode, we'll have to trade deadline and sim the remainder of the regular season as we look to make our ticket back to the playoffs a successful one, and hopefully we have a good regular season sim the rest of the way, and then hopefully we could play pretty good in the first round regardless of who we go up against. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.